Can you imagine living in a world without any modern conveniences of today? No cell phones, electricity, supermarkets, such as we see here, cars, or internet. How would you feel if the only person you had access to when you were sick is under the influence of hallucinogenic drugs and practices no form of modern medicine whatsoever? How about if the entire community lived naked? These all may seem very strange to us, but to the Yanomami tribe, this is all completely normal. In most of our country, we have a set of standards which most of us abide by. I think it's important to remember, though, that what is abnormal for us is normal for somebody else in another region of the world. I first heard about the Yanomami in my anthropology class last year. I was fascinated by the tribe living still much in the same way as they did thousands of years ago. Their way of life would be shocking to many, and so of course I had to know more. I researched and watched documentaries on the early days of first contact with the tribes, and I was not disappointed. They are truly an incredible people. Today, I'm going to inform you about the Yanomami, who they are, where they live, and what their tribal culture consists of. Before I get too deep into where they live, or the culture, let's take a look at who the Yanomami are. They are a semi-nomadic hunter-gatherer tribe. Hunter-gatherer tribes, like the Yanomami, spend most of their time gathering food, hunting, gardening, and fishing. In fact, in the September-October 1998 edition of the journal Americas, Kenneth Good states, in his article, A Race Against Time, that the Yanomami spend about half of their time away from their houses and gardens foraging. Semi-nomadic, now that means that their shelters are not permanent. They can be moved or rebuilt easily. They live in large shelters called shabonas, which form a circle or semicircle with a large open area in the middle. We can see a picture of one here. The children run and play about in this open area, as well as dogs that they may have domesticated. Throughout the Shabona, there are small cooking fires and hammocks strung up. Even though these structures are fairly large, they are not considered permanent. Where the Yanomami live influences a lot of how they live. The Yanomami live in the harsh environment of the Amazon rainforest, which we can see here. One way that the Yanomami have managed to combat the heat and humidity of their homeland is lack of clothing. As we can see, the young men are mainly naked. They are generally completely nude or wear a small loincloth. In the humid air of the Amazon, clothing would most likely do nothing other than mildew and stick to your body. So why would they have use of it? One of the problems facing the Yanomami, as far as their environment goes, is the threat of malaria. And then of course, there are also the new viruses that are brought in by the outside world. They fight very hard also to keep their culture, but with more and more contact, they become more westernized. During my interview with Professor of Anthropology Mary Kate Terrell from Pulaski Technical College, she stated that the Yanomami are very resistant to change, but that gifts from missionaries are being seen more and more. These include boats, boat motors, watches, and some modern tools. Now that you know where the Yanomami live, who they are, I would like to talk a little bit more about and discuss their culture a bit. The Yanomami culture is extremely different from our own Western culture, but that does not mean that it's necessarily wrong. A big part of the Yanomami culture is based on being a fierce people. Fierce meaning that they consider some types of violence as good and often as affection. A man will regularly beat his wife out of affection, and children are encouraged to draw blood when play fighting. In fact, young boys play a game shooting blunted arrows at each other. You can see a picture of the boys with their bows and arrows here. This may seem terrible to us, but for this tribe it's normal. Being a fierce people has meant surviving in a very unfriendly jungle. Religion and health also go hand in hand for the Yanomami, and it's also a huge part of their culture. Their shaman believe that illness comes from spirits, and that they must fight the spirits physically. But in order to see these spirits, they will have other men from the tribe blow hallucinogenic powder into their noses, which we can see here, and then they will begin to chant, and then fight the spirits with invisible weapons. In the documentary short, A Magical Death by Ethnographic Video Online, Volume 1, we can watch as a shaman uses the hallucinogenic powder and begins to chant and perform the rituals. Today, I have informed you about the Yanomami, who they are, where they live, and what their tribal culture consists of. Despite how different this culture may be to you, just think, you are very different and also very strange to them. In a world without modern medicine, lacking technology, the basic needs of food, shelter, and family are met. So really, are we that different in the grand scheme of things?